Are you? What time zone are you in?
EST.
Okay. Yeah, it starts at 8.
Okay.
I thought Tennessee was like central.
It is. It's split. It's split, apparently.
That's very confusing.
But yeah.
Do you know Jennifer?
I follow her on Instagram now.
Okay. Cool. She's famous.
Yeah, I could tell.
Tom is kind of, Tom got Ariana Reigns to blurb his next
Oh,
book.
really?
Yeah.
I love Ariana Reigns.
Yeah, she's awesome. Did you ever listen to Michael Silverblatt?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't listened to the episode podcasts because school got really busy.
I bet. Do you know who Silverblatt is?
No.
Okay. He's a guy from like LA. He was real famous. He would just like interview like literary people. And like Ariana Reigns is like the last person to take a picture of him. He was like dying.
This is the first time I'm having a hard time.
Let me see.
Because of your no, I was just talking about just like being like fiction.
Yeah, I haven't come across it, but
That's fine.
he coined the term transgressive fiction.
Yo, Graham, what's up?
What's the one?
I can't hear you, Graham.
We can't.
But this is the girl that likes Larry Lewis.
Larry Levis.
Yeah. Graham's famous in like the indie circles.
It's exciting to be introduced to all these people.
You're welcome. You have to put on a good show to impress the PhD people. Graham, what's with your mic, man? I don't know. I have mic issues. No one gets.
I read.
Yo, Jennifer, what's up?
Hi.
Do you know a poet named Larry Levin or Larry Lewis?
That sounds familiar.
Uh-huh.
Larry Levis.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar is my standard answer when I don't actually know.
Okay. He's some like famous guy within the PhD academia schools in the 90s.
Gotcha.
Oh, great. We're having video issues. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know him either.
Is this better? Am I at all? Can you hear me? You can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, great. Good. I didn't read a lot of Larry Levis, but what I read, I did like. He's not the same thing, but because it was like alphabetically near, I always related it to him to Philip Levine. I liked Philip Levine a lot. So I was like, they're brothers, even though they're not, obviously.
Nice.
Am I incorrect to say Philip Levine mentored Larry Levis?
I do think that they were like related in that way too. Maybe you're right. Yeah.
I think so.
Because Philip Levine is. I mean, they're like similar ages, like not super different. Maybe Philip Levine's like older by a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think he mentored Larry Levis and then this other poet while they were in California. And then he went on to obviously teach in Utah and at Richmond, and then he died because of drugs.
How many drugs?
Okay, yeah.
Huh?
How many drugs?
You should ask him.
Okay. What kind?
Yeah. I had a professor who was. I think maybe this is like it's all coming back. It's been a while since I've thought about this guy, but it seemed like I was super like Philip Levine died when I was in grad school, and so I was reading everything that he wrote, and then I was talking about Philip Levine a lot, and then because also brothers alphabetically, and whenever I would bring it up, this not my mentor, but I guess the shape of a mentor would bring up Larry Levis, liked him more, and also that person, my professor was like, you know, in recovery and talked about Larry Levis in that way. It's all coming back. This is exciting to remember.
I mean, it's a nice year to remember Larry Levis because The Collected is coming out
Okay, sure.
and I think the people who like worked on The Collected is David St. John and James Ciano, and they're both in California.
Okay.
Yeah.
What got you into him?
My ex-husband.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He has like a cult following, I feel. Where once you get into the Larry Levis world, you just like get lost in it. And then you have to defend his honor forever.
That makes sense.
Crow,
Yeah.
do you know any of these people?
The people being talked about? No. The people in the boxes on my screen? Yes.
Okay, cool. Have you done heroin, Crow?
Never.
Okay, not yet.
Is that the subject or is that the cause of
Yeah.
death?
It's related.
He died of cardiac arrest triggered by a drug overdose.
What drug? Heroin?
I don't know.
They
I
need to be more specific. There's a lot of drugs out there.
Best, it's probably multiple,
Could be.
you know.
Yeah, it could be a little bit. He had Wikipedia is telling me he had a dark side and bad boy impulses.
Here comes
That's a lot.
Tom.
A lot of different drugs could really fall under those categories. And that's what you have to do those to be good at art too, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Ariana Reigns is blurbing Tom's book. We were talking about that.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Congratulations, Tom.
Bro, do you know Ariana Reigns?
I'm familiar, not deeply familiar, but
Have you met her?
no, I have not.
Jennifer,
Have you?
have you met her?
No, but I love her work.
Okay. What's your favorite book?
I like them all.
Okay. Mercury? You like Mercury?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What's not to like?
Tom, how'd you get her blurb? You just reach out? I think I asked you.
Yeah. I asked, and she's really lovely and said yes. Yeah, a Sam book is like one of my favorite books ever. So that was really cool. That's the one where the last section she's talking to God. That's just I love that a lot.
Do you know who Larry Levin is?
Larry Levis.
Larry Levis?
Yeah.
Have you heard of him, Tom?
Yeah, but now I'm kind of interested in like a bizarro version of him named Larry Levin, who like writes, I don't know, really short poems that don't have any characters and are not mystical or transcendental in any way. I don't know. I think we could make a Larry Levis, Larry Levin, like, you know, bar fight short story that would kick ass.
So you're aware of the guy? Okay. You know everybody.
The cover of that new book, the Swirl and Vortex book, is sick. It's like the Zbigniew Herbert collected with the cigarette. It's good. It's good stuff.
And the smoke goes like over the top into the back.
All right, the lineup for tonight. We're still waiting for Katie. I was gonna do Crow and then Katie, Tom, Zuleyha, and Graham, and then Jennifer. What is it?
Zuleyha.
Zuleyha. Sorry.
Yeah.
You guys get 7-8 minutes. If you go 10 minutes, you get kicked off.
Heard.
Yeah.
Do we get
Katie
like
said-
a warning before we get kicked off, or is it just like automatically
Automatically.
you have that power?
Yep.
Booted from the chat or just like
Booted
muted?
from the whole thing.
Oh wow.
Permaband?
Mhm.
Wow.
No warning.
Yeah, it is kind of like at the Apollo. You get pulled off, everyone boos, throws cabbage at us.
Should happen at reading more often. Yeah, that's true.
How do I access the chat? Oh, okay. Also, I have a live audience here of poets and
Wow.
I do that. Poets and
Oh.
a fiction writer. This is Cora Shippa, Alexandra Persad, Veronica Fletcher. They're all writing and they're all alive.
We are alive. Happy to be there with early.
So they'll be hearing your work as well.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
And I think in the call there's another poet, Jasmine. She just did hearts. Hi, Jasmine.
Danielle Chalesky's in the room. Graham, didn't you blurb Danielle's book?
Yeah, I think her chapbook, maybe her second or third chapbook, or possibly first
I
two.
think it was her first one.
Yeah.
I bought
yeah.
both of Danielle's chapbooks as well.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
right. Yeah, Crow, yeah. Blur
You know,
buddy.
Katie Frank, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. She said she's editing Danielle's next manuscript.
Ooh.
I don't think I was supposed to reveal that.
Exciting.
When
Katie,
you
we
mentioned
can't-
you were going to ask me about Hobart, I was preparing to divulge my affinity for Danielle Chalesky, so this is convenient.
Yeah, they didn't get mentioned on that like cool places to like publish on that article. That's some bullshit. Do you guys see that? Chill Subs totally fucked over Hobart. Wow.
Oh no.
Crow, what's your least favorite indie press?
Chill Subs, I think, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say same thing. Yeah.
You guys hate Chill Sub? Yeah, they won't. They're not doing. I asked them if they're gonna like do something for like podcasters or like have like a list of literary podcasts, and they're like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not focusing on that right now. It's like that's bullshit. They could just like make a page. This is like, check out these podcasts. I don't know. They don't want to. That's on them. I feel so underdressed right now. The
What's
PhD
making you
people
feel that
came.
way?
Katie, how you doing? How was your dump? We can't hear you. She texted me right before. She was like, I'm taking a huge poop. I'm like, well, that's great to know.
Said shit. I didn't say poop.
Okay.
Wait. So when I was talking before, you didn't hear me? Oh,
No.
whoops. That's probably better. Yeah, it was good. It was normal.
Okay.
Sorry, I had some computer problems. I had to restart.
Yeah, we all do. How's your day going?
Me?
Yeah.
Still? It's pretty good. I went to work.
Okay. Did you hear the lineup earlier?
What?
Did you hear the lineup?
Did I hear the lineup?
Yeah.
Oh, like the order? No.
Okay, so it's going to be Crow, you, Katie, and then Tom, and then Zuleyha, and then Zuleyha.
Mm-hmm.
Zuleyha. Okay, I'm gonna like repeat that. Zuleyha, and then Graham, and then Jennifer.
Sounds good.
All right, let's kick things off. Welcome everyone to the Lo-Fi Smoke Break reading. We join you here today. We're going to read some poetry. Some people are going to read some prose. I know Graham has something new that he wants to read, everyone. I think Katie Frank does too. I hope you all enjoy this fantastic reading we have lined up for you. Let's kick things off with Crow.
Thank you.
And Graham, can you introduce Crow?
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, I would love to. Crow is a good friend of mine. Crow, Jonah Norlander, great friend of mine, editor of Had, a writer of really great poems, excuse me, and a wonderful father. Yeah, I'm excited to hear him read.
Thanks, Graham. And Tyler and everyone. I kind of feel like I'm the charity inclusion on this stacked lineup. So it's only fitting that I'm the opener. So everybody that trickles in late doesn't have to sit through me. No. I'm confident and my work is going to be good. And I'm going to read it for you now. This first poem was in Swamplit. Shout out MD Wheatley. It is called, Has Anyone Ever Felt This Before? I become immobile to savor incidental touch. My kid is standing on my foot and I'm like, don't move. At bedtime, my son wants to sword fight with Hot Wheels tracks, and I give in just a little. I swipe half-heartedly against his all-out attacks. I feel a little overwhelmed and then realize I can tolerate even more chaos. When someone wants to show me something on their phone, I'm like, no. Wow, all your problems have the same root cause? That's crazy. Everything wrong with me is wrong for different reasons. None of it is connected. Up next, this one's called Really Healthy, unpublished. I'm in the mood to be really healthy. This whole time I thought I was eating carbs, I was actually eating fats. What's up with chia seeds? Why do I eat them? I do though. You have no idea how yogurt o'clock it is right now. Greeks were really cooking when they invented their yogurt. Going through Greek yogurt withdrawals. This new protein shake I'm trying has a slight ode to cow manure. My budgeting advice is don't eat expensive food unless it tastes really good. For a while, grapes solved a lot of my problems. Now I have new problems grapes can't solve. Got to work and realized I forgot my daily allotment of hand fruits. Sick of my blackberries getting moldy, so I'm eating them anyway. Eating an apple that tastes like air juice if you could juice a crunchy fist-sized chunk of air. There should be a euphemistic way of referring to an everything bagel, so I can salvage my ascetic reputation. Inconvenient that half-heartedly trying to get swole spring leads into obligated to eat ice cream daily summer. I may get old, but I'll never be slow or frail. It's just not for me. Cured my knee injury by ignoring it. Certain my leg could be made to feel better by some kind of stretch. Walking into a collaborative massage and bodywork storefront, asking if my contribution can be just laying there. My toenail might fall off, and I don't even have a marathon training block to show for it. Trying to resist the temptation to take another dose of the magic nasal decongestant that cures you for 3 days and kills you on the 4th. I like how Dayquil makes me feel like I'm having a heart attack. Wonder if I'm gonna make it. That's the end of that one. Next one, I got just a couple more here. This one's called Sweet Child of Mine, which may be a familiar title. I want to think of my afflictions as being universal until I meet someone who shares them. Then I don't want those problems anymore. Regret having told someone, I can't remember who, I prefer blackberries over raspberries. The scorn in my mother-in-law's face when I was rummaging for napkins and pulled out tea towels. My son's electric toothbrush vibrates on the same frequency as Guns N' Roses. Massaging my cat's gums, massaging my own gums, making myself integral to something. On foot, chasing down a honking driver to share my hope that a rabid dog bites his dick off. Sometimes I forget to consider whether my son is in the car before shouting, "Fuck you, cocksucker," at some other driver who can't hear me. I wonder how many words I know, hoping to meet someone who brings out my fun side, if they're out there, and I have one. Feeling so grateful, but it's not enough. Thought a thought, and then thought, I don't have to keep thinking about that. All right, this one's called Not a Number. Decided to have a good day, and then I had a good day. Hauled away my old mattress, reminiscing on the good times. Debated setting a goal to finish writing a book by the end of the year, but I couldn't decide which. Chatted with a student loan portal support person named Lacan Real, who abbreviated forbearance to Forb. Lap swim lifeguard couldn't decide whether to call me Corey or Clay, then tried Cray. It's fun getting healthier and better looking with age. Nearly complimented another playground dad on his pants. My son blew on a dandelion and whispered his wish to be with Mama and Papa forever, to never be apart. His last question of the night was, "What's the last number?" and wouldn't accept infinity as an answer. Hallucinated the moon falling, and my body instinctively lurched to catch it. Every night before sleep, I lose track of my legs. Sometimes I feel impatient to know the end. I don't want to get there. This one is called I Like Your Smell. Thank you to Tyler for publishing this on Lo-Fi Mag. This is the one he called Creepy. I like your smell. I'm afraid to ask what it is. I don't know if it suits me, like whether I could wear it. Do you wear a scent? Whatever the verb, I'm not sure I could do it. I don't want it on me. I just want it on you. Someone to smell until it fades from perception. Often is too much for something this good. So it's better left an infrequent mystery that tricks me into wondering if I might not want to huff your essence for eternity. And my last poem, if I have time, was also published in Swamp. It's called A Bit Sloppy, but Sticks the Landing. I quickly take off a t-shirt with a too small neck hole, and my face gets all squished. I hug a person who, in retrospect, was reaching their arm out with some other intention. I don't hug someone I haven't seen in months who walks up and stands an inch away. I tell my boss good before he asks how I am, which he never winds up doing. Haven't heard from a friend in a while, so I text. You surviving? Haven't heard back. Didn't really plan ahead. Don't know my next move. Before falling asleep, I lose feeling in my legs and can't remember if they're straight or crossed. I write groceries on my grocery list. Must have meant apples. Wish you could have felt the medicinal sea breeze on my way into work today. That's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. Now, if you're new to my readings, what I like to do is I like to go around and I like to ask the different readers, what did they think of these poems? I'm going to ask Jennifer, what did you think of Crow's poems?
Sorry, just unmuting here. I loved your poems. I really enjoyed the voice where there was like a lot of, I don't know, like straightforwardness and humor, but then that became like the mechanism for some kind of like transcendence and like truth. And I just love poetry that is able to like start from that place of just the everyday. And then, yeah, I don't know. I loved it.
Thank you.
Cool. Zuleyha, what did you think? You and your friends.
Okay. I really loved the humor in it. But I like that you go from like really humorous moments to like a punch in the gut.
Okay, Graham, what did you think?
What did everyone else think? Hold on, wait.
Oh, wait.
I love the moment with the hugging. That's just something that stood out to me.
I love the small mentions of the child, like punctured throughout.
Oh, I
think
also like the
so-
playground dads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I love that.
Graham, how'd you feel? Thank you, by the way.
I really like Crow's relationship with his son, and I like the way he writes about it. I think that like Arnie is a really smart kid, and it's funny to that like sometimes the way kids talk is the way a poem is shaped, and just kind of like the unknown at the end of a thought is kind of a poem, you know, just being like, I don't know where this is going to go, and it just stops. And that's like the feeling that a poem leaves you with, a really good poem leaves you with. And I think Crow is really good at like capturing both that from his daily life and also his like domestic life. So I really like reading those, hearing that.
Katie, thank you, Graham. Katie, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I love it. I really like how your poems have almost like a tweet-like quality, but like in the best way possible. Like they're so funny, and it's like each line could be its own thing, but then like together they also become something that's like really deep. Yeah, I loved it.
Tom, do you have anything to add, or would you like to continue?
Yeah, +1 to what everybody said. And also, I think that poems are a really great technology for being aware of something too late. And I think, Crow, your poems do that really beautifully. Like the little like moments of, oh shit, I just realized I did that thing when I should have thought for like 0.8 more seconds. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing to get to see rendered with the care that you do.
All right, thank you everyone for your opinions on Crow Jonah's poetry. You can go check out one of his poems on my site, lofimag.com. All right, moving on. We have the brilliant and excellent Katie Frank, who is an editor over on Hobart. She's been published in Soft Union, Moo Moo House, and many other excellent publications. I think Katie is going to be reading a piece of prose, I think.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Why unfortunately?
I don't know. I feel like everyone here is a brilliant poet, and I don't know. I'm like, I chose something boring and I hate it, but that's okay. Like Crow, when you were saying what you said, I was like, no, I have to follow you. Like, come on. But anyway,
We'll judge you after.
we're gonna survive. We're gonna get through it. Okay. So yeah, this is something we're working on. It's rough. The context is the protagonist's name is Jackie. She has a friend named Lisa. They're both writers, and Jackie has a crush on a poet who has no name. All right. The next morning, of course, sorry, I have a cold. The next morning, of course, there was still the urge to send follow-up emails to the poet, explaining that the movie she'd urged him to watch might actually suck because she'd first seen it as a tween, Ghost World, about two disaffected young women, which Lisa had agreed was one of her favorite films, and that the video she'd sent of her friend performing a song was not meant as a message. She just liked the performance. The song lyrics went, "What if I'm wrong? And what if you're lame? What if you find out I'm not that great?" Instead, she opened Lisa's latest manuscript on her laptop and began to read. Lisa described this man she'd been obsessed with as childish in a way she adored. Jackie had found the man repellent from Lisa's descriptions of him, but now she texted her the line and added, "Kay, I kind of get it now." Lisa said it was about how someone could be old and intellectual, but childish at the same time. "It feels like this masterful kind of rule breaking," she wrote. "You know what I mean?" "I really do," Jackie replied. It reminded her of her parents' Buddhist guru, how he was part of the mishap lineage and had crazy wisdom. She thought about all the men she'd been drawn to who were like that. "I think maybe part of me wants to be them more than I want them," she texted Lisa. "Must become weed master." Lisa said someone did a review of her book that explored that idea, that characters yearning for validation from men actually want to be them. Jackie, sinking into the couch, wondered if it was less about wanting to be them exactly and more about wanting to give herself permission to be herself, her total mess of a self, the way such men did for themselves. She was reminded of a conversation she'd had with a coworker at their last staff day who worked part-time at the preschool and was an artist. The women had been made to watch a video showing Montessori elders discussing how observation was an act of love. They'd been given a worksheet which said, "Being able to observe within yourself, understand yourself, trust yourself, and operate from a place of curiosity in the spirit of growth is how you prepare yourself to be a strong guide. When have you seen yourself operate from a place of mistrusting yourself?" They'd been asked to discuss the question with the nearest person. The coworker had said she was able to trust herself when she was in the studio working on her art, but then when someone came to do a studio visit, she felt unable to exude confidence or speak coherently about it. Jackie said she understood. "But then again, I feel like there are people who would resonate with the honest way you're presenting yourself, like," Jackie trailed off. "Confidence is kind of off-putting or questionable," the coworker answered. "Yes, like it lacks vulnerability." And then their conversation was cut off by their boss playing the next part of the video, where one of the Montessori elders quipped, "There's never been a power struggle that's ever been won by an adult with a child, ever in history." And all the women laughed. On the couch, Jackie stared past her phone and laptop at a book, the Book of Disquiet, on a distant table. She had been reading it for about a decade and still hadn't finished. The narrator, in self-imposed isolation, spilled the most intricate insights on every page, but Jackie could only bear a few pages of its brilliant melancholy at a time. She looked at her lifeless phone. There was something more basic than just wanting to emulate men, she thought. There was an intoxication to interacting with the poet's energy, and now that it was gone, she missed it like a drug. But she also felt relieved to be free of it. Her crush on him had made her unable to act natural, and the awareness of how fake she was acting would always only arrive after the fact, leaving her with an embarrassment that felt excruciating. She took a walk with a vague idea of getting a THC seltzer and wandered toward Myrtle Avenue, thinking of screenshots Lisa had sent her, of messages she'd sent to the bookstore employee author, the old guy. How Lisa had texted him, commenting on his failure to reply to her selfies, asked him if she was pretty, etc. Jackie was usually less direct in her pleas for attention, but still, she had spent plenty of time strategizing how to send the poet a selfie without it seeming like she was sending one to make herself look pretty, but rather as a casual happenstance of conversation, while at the same time going to pains to make the selfie covertly cute. She was thinking about the desire to be beautiful while trying to fix her posture and bearing as she walked, her hair frizzy and unbrushed, her heavy winter coat black and shapeless, her tired eyes behind dorky glasses. She'd noticed lately that if she simply took on a false sense of confidence in the way she carried herself, people noticed her more, even though she still looked just as unkempt and fashionless as she normally did. She wondered how much the desire to be beautiful had infringed upon the ability to actually feel at home in her body, which was, paradoxically, the thing that most made a person seem beautiful, she thought, like a home that welcomes you. The next night, Jackie was house-sitting and taking care of 2 kittens in Bushwick. It had taken them hours to come out of hiding after her arrival, and now they were furtively rushing out from under the bed to brush against her hand and rushing back under. It was as if they thought maybe they could get to know the hand first, without catching the attention of the whole machine of Jackie. So that when she cooed their names at them, they looked into her face wide-eyed with surprise. Soon enough, though, they relaxed and became clumsy in their fervor for toys, youthfully delighted by the miracle of petting, hard to photograph in anything but a blur, but unspeakably cute. Jackie sat on the floor, watching one of them weave around her hand, thinking about youth and cuteness. Various threads were circling her head. Like how the poet had said his favorite thing in relationships was developing a secret language with your lover, like twin children were known to do with each other. How it seemed like a regression into babyhood, and how that was an ideal for Jackie too. How she often thought of the sex she'd had with an ex where he, a man in his 40s, had seemed to become a teenager before her eyes. But then later, before she dumped him, he looked ancient. And of course, there was that demon mask that just kind of lived up there in the dark in her head, a mashup of Jeffrey Epstein's face and the scary guy from Twin Peaks and Ted Bundy and Netanyahu, her dad, circling around her head. There was the sprouting of white hair she'd noticed in the mirror that morning, which had made her want more. And she let go of the threads around her head to focus on the kitten sisters, one enthusiastic and purring, the other exploring boldly. Then, at the sound of laughter from the apartment building's hallway, both of them skidding away in terror. That's it.
Thank you very much. By the way, that was like 7 minutes exactly. So it was great timing on your part. Now I'm going to go around the room. We're going to ask people what do they think of your story. Crow, what do you think of Katie's piece that she just read?
I really appreciated the way that piece kind of loaded up this scene with external reference and sort of divergent thoughts, tangents, and sort of brought it all together as a really tactful way of assembling an understanding through connections that I admired.
Thank you. I'm going to ask someone from the audience who joined in the middle of Katie reading. Amber, I saw you jumped in about in the middle of Katie's reading. What did you think of the story? Your mic is muted. We can't hear you. Okay, she's talking. And going
It's
on and
frozen. Yeah, she says it's frozen. Yeah.
Okay, it's frozen.
Maybe.
Tom, what'd you think? Sorry, Amber, we can't hear you.
I liked it a lot. I really love when I'm reading like prose stuff. I love those little like tiny jewel moments. Like you had that moment where it's like the feeling like home in your body and then going to the house sitting like that was really cool, and like the motif of like cuteness popping up in a couple of places, but also just, you know, especially coming off of Crow's reading, like the relationship with like children and ourselves as children, but like children in an educational setting, and then like kind of superposing that onto like adult relationships and like how they can kind of exist through and across time in these like really paradoxical ways. The like layering on of the like the ex who's both young and old, and like that absolutely unforgettable superposition of like Bob and all those other people. I was like, oh my god, what a horror show. But yeah, the demon mask, right? Absolutely. Yeah, very, very cool, Katie. Thank you.
Zuleyha, I see you have kittens. Thank you, Tom. I see you have kittens, Zuleyha. Do you relate to the part about the cats?
I related to a lot of the story. I mean,
Like
I
what
relate
else?
to the part about the cats. I relate to the part about having a crush on a poet. The part about everything.
So would
being-
you
feeling
read like the
embarrassed
rest of
You
this?
have a crush, you know, feeling that embarrassment of, and feeling like you can't be genuine
Hmm.
like someone.
Graham, what do you think of the piece? Would you read the rest of this?
Yeah, I would love to like to know where it goes. I think there's like a timelessness in that that like yearning, maybe yeah, there's like a timelessness in that, and like wanting to be seen, wanting to connect, and it feels that way in the language. And then the references to like the now or whatever, like Ghost World is like a queen indulgence and like I don't know, just being like that the most evil faces, the most evil things that you can imagine are like Epstein and Netanyahu is very like both like funny and also, you know, real evil things, but just like that those can come up to you while you're with someone that you you know, like love. I like that. I like just kind of like the whirlpool of images. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ghost World reference really threw me because I haven't like thought about that film in like years. It's such like a millennial movie, I think. Jennifer, do you have anything you'd like to add, or would you like to move on?
Yes, no, I would love to add. I really loved that piece, and I really felt like invested in the character. Like I feel like I know her. I feel like I am her, and I really like the way your sense of interiority lent so much depth to the character in such a short amount of time. I feel like you gave us so much, and I really loved the nuanced ways that you wrote about like desire and like beauty and like wanting to be beautiful. And trying to figure out like how your own sense of like self-identity relates to what you desire or wanting to be desired. It was so rich and layered in like such a short passage. I would love to read more of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Jennifer, would you like to introduce? Oh, Amber, do you want to say something?
Okay, it's working now. But no, I said, I'm sorry. I feel like I don't have anything helpful to say on top of all of what I just heard, but I wasn't lying earlier. It just wasn't working.
Okay. Well, thank
I'm
you.
so sorry, but thank you, Katie. It was so beautiful.
Jennifer, would you like to introduce Tom? Because I know you know Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't come prepared with like people's biographical information.
That's
or
okay.
like that, but I can just talk about how I feel about Tom. Tom's amazing. He's not only one of the most talented poets currently living and writing. He's like a champion for other poets in a way that I feel like is just so fucking rare in this world. Like he really goes the extra mile to promote other poets, to share other people's poetry. He's cultivated such a great like social media presence. So I highly recommend, if you're not following him, follow him, because again, not only is his work brilliant, but the work that he shares and cultivates and the sense of community that he creates is something that's so just like, he does it in such a real way where you can feel like the passion behind it. And I just love Tom, love his presence in the literary world. And like, if there were more Toms, the world would be a better place.
Wow. That's a glowing review for you, Tom. If you guys didn't know, Tom is he used to be a math teacher. Now he like writes instructional like books for like math, like the like when you're going to high school and you have like an algebra book, like he writes those kinds of books.
That was really beautiful, Jennifer. Thank you for that. And thank you, Tyler, for clarifying that this is all coming from the mouth of a math textbook writer. So, you know, take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Yeah, I'm going to start. I love to start readings by reading something by somebody else. And so I'm going to read one of my favorite poems that has been in Lo-Fi Mag so far. This is a poem. I don't know if it has a title. If it does, forgive me and I'm messing it up. But it's by Carmen E. Brady, and it's the top one on the lofimag.com/Carmen E. Brady page. I am not some important thing. No, not now. Will not compare myself to some forest, some city, something you want. Used to write confessionally until I ran out of things to confess. Used to write love poems until I fell in love. Anyway, today was hot. The clouds blew by. I sprayed vinegar on the weeds, another harmless act of mine that surely has 1 million consequences I will never see.
Thank you, Tom. By the way, that wasn't by Tom, that was by Carmen E. Brady.
It was.
I could go off on and on about the poem, but I'm going to let you read.
That is very cool that you could go out, because I agree. Like, you've published multiple things on Lo-Fi so far that have made me feel that way. Of like, I could just sit in that for a while, and that's a really cool thing. So thank you for making this space here tonight, and also Lo-Fi Mag and all the stuff you do, Tyler. We really appreciate it. I'm going to read a little bit from my book Mountain Bank, which is out as of next week or so from Broken Sleep Books. Hooray! Very happy that that's a thing. I'm going to start by reading a poem that requires something I may or may not be able to do in real time. So let's find out. This poem is called Death or the Chromaticism of Elliott Smith. There's always the bitter tears of Petra von Kant problem. We want them to think of us more than anything else, but if they do, if they add even a layer of aragonite to the sand grain idea, they might care back. It's bags packed and off, wordless into the night. An adjudicator moon stays for a few daylight hours just to hear both sides. You can't hide a horse in a closet, the mother of a little girl quotes her on TikTok as saying. This is the reason she gives for why her horse cannot be the school pet. In the event her class actually needs to use that locked away bucket, their hands full of things to throw. I wouldn't be able to protect him. I don't want him to die. Why lie to a child when the truth is right there? All its collisions and day drinking insurance assessors pretending they remember what to do. In Alameda, Elliot sings, shuffling your deck of trick cards over everyone. Over, like the verb was lord or hang rather than shuffle. A random act you can lie about like anything. Oof. Yeah, Alameda is it. So don't ever, just like you shouldn't trust poems by a math textbook person, you also should not trust any Elliott Smith cover. Maybe that's not quite true. There's probably some good ones out there. I'll read another one from this book just called Poem. The dead skunk looked like a continuation of the road stripe, and so close to the water reclamation facility, I couldn't sniff it out through all the raw, The roadkill and I crew a small raft, trying to make it across the river. I have promised them beautiful stationery on the other side, on which to write arrival letters to their loved ones. I don't know if it'll really be there for them, but if not, I will plane and pump the wood myself as the woodchucks look on, even if all I have is what the boat's made of. I'll read one more from this chunk of the book called just Flaw. Like a stray match at the wholesale fireworks superstore, I'm not dangerous unless struck. Like an amnesiac bird, I might be a father. Like old yellow mustard, I am a reason you're right. And like tears on your seatbelt, I am a reason your mother is right. Like fog, I am simple. Like fog, I can eat a window without making a sound. Like sound, I am a condition of theories. Like the window they surveil the world from. Like the world, I am bigger outside of the poem. Like home, I am caught in the vinegar trap, my wet wings. Like tomorrow, I'll be right there. I do two more. Let's see how we do. Since Tyler mentioned that I do math stuff, I'll read a poem with math in it. For those set theorists out there who I know are partying it up on a Friday night, this poem is called Fake Novel. Suppose A, B, and C are sets. Let little a be an element of A, little b be an element of B, and little c be an element of C. Without loss of generality, put little a, b, and C together in a garden. Tell them nothing, but let little a name a few things. Leave them alone a while. Alone here has its obvious meaning. Let the pairwise decomposition of the set of little a, little b, and little c have time to marinate. Let envy form. From the front of the garden, via the megaphone, invite little a to name little b's favorite unnamed thing. Let little a say, God, that's so messed up, I'm sorry. Let little b and little c form B and C. The next time little a tries to name something, they are surprised. The name doesn't stick. This frustrates little a, but they try not to show it, as B and C walk around silently. Their quiet is a way of being above nomenclature, over it. They glide past nameless flowers, holding hands. I'll read one more. Thank you all so much again for being here, and thank you, Tyler, for organizing this. It's a real honor to read with this group of folks who are really, really wonderful. This poem is called Afternoon. Nobody wants to do those things that siphon air slowly out of the palace. The dandelions are sparse enough, they look like watchmen, strategically positioned so they can be jealous of every tree. I've been eating the expired chocolate bars and just had my first vision. Someone I knew from high school, someone I desperately wanted to love me, polishing doorknobs. Emerald reasoning is succor to most wheels this life sees greased, but I have a soft spot for the sapphire, how it can play wind or sea convincingly. My bullet hole, when I compare it with others, doesn't even seem that serious. Time to just lay here, unexceptional. Please mark my grave with something that will wash away at the first rain. Thank you.
Holy shit, that was great. Thank you, Tom. I love the little a poem, because you're like humanizing mathematical like characters that I never really cared for. I also have a small anecdote. When I joined like creative writing like in 2011 for a class at OSU, we were supposed to give a story about our name, and everyone else like told a story about their origins of their name, how their parents named them, and I gave a little story about how like the letters of my name like felt about each other, and I like felt so stupid and I wanted to jump out the window, but now I look back, I'm like, I was probably more creative than like everyone else in that class. Zuleyha, how'd you feel? Zuleyha.
Oh my god, I didn't even have to correct you.
I'm getting there.
Tom, I feel like you have such a intense, authoritative voice, but very gentle. Like, it feels like your voice is of the New York school, but then your image logic is very Charles Simic, like surreal, jumping from one thing, but it makes sense. But like, could I come up with that? No. So that was cool. Yeah.
Crow, how do you feel about Tom's poems? Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking like there's something. It's I feel the beauty of someone else's mind, the beauty and strangeness of someone else's mind. It's really refreshing to be confronted with these beautiful, like these lines that I really want to savor, that are just so far outside of anything I could ever think of, and yet seem sort of essential. Yeah, really good.
Someone in the chat brought up a song thing, Alameda or something. Tom,
Yeah, that's
what
from
is it?
Elliott Smith.
Has anyone heard of that? Katie.
Yeah, it's a Elliott Smith song.
Okay. Did you like the reference?
I did. I feel like I need to read it on paper. I hear one line of your poem and I'm like, I get stuck, and then you're like moving on, and I'm like, I'm too slow. Like, but I'm a huge fan, so yeah. I love Elliott Smith, so I need to read that again. Please post it or something, publish it.
Jennifer, how do you feel about Tom's poetry.
I'm such a huge fan of Tom's work, and I think this is my first time hearing you read aloud, and it was such a cool experience because I've like been such a fan of your work on the page, but then getting to hear it read aloud was so interesting. I agree with Katie that it was definitely this feeling of like almost being overwhelmed, because I'm like, wait, let me sit with this like insane transcendent like image that you just brought to light. And like echoing what Zuleyha said, yeah, like your like image systems and your sense of logic is just so fascinating, and like it makes sense emotionally. Like I'm with you there, but at the same time I'm like, how does someone even think of something like that? I really liked the third to last poem you read. I'm bad with titles, but there's this part where it's like repeating like, and there's this like anaphora of like, and I thought that was a particular moment where the way you're moving from image to image felt so natural, like you're almost in this flow state, but at the same time, the logic is so hard to grasp. And that's so interesting because you have like this math background that's very like, you know, when you think of math as this sort of logic-based thing. And then I don't know, something about your poetry is really feels integrated in that sense. Like left brain, right brain, like firing at the same time. So yeah, such a huge fan.
Graham, listening to Tom's, thank you, Jennifer. Graham, listening to Tom's poetry, does that make you want to go and write a poem? Are you done with poetry completely? You're never going to return to it?
No, I don't think so. I anytime Tom shares a poem, or either by himself or by someone that he likes, by a book, like a poet that he likes, it always feels like it, like, yeah, excites me about poetry. It's like it's just like getting that poem can be anything. I'm always really impressed, Tom, that you like so many different types of poems. It's not like you're always just sharing one style, or like or that like you only like a certain type of person who writes a certain type of poem. It always, like, you know, it's from all time periods, it's from all like different schools, and then like your own poems like reflect that. You are like kind of all over the map. It's like you're seeing this, like there's a sphere of information that a poem is trying to get to, and you are like able to go on all sides and like reach down into it. And that's a thing that makes me want to write a poem. Like when I think about that, I'm like, yeah, I'm jealous that I get it. Look at that part of the sphere.
Tom, are you going to teach poetry? I feel like you'd make a great teacher of poetry.
I'm not sure actually if it's going to happen, because there's not a lot of March left, but there's a little venue near us that was going to do some like art stuff for kids for the month. I think like March is Youth Art Month, for someone sponsors that. So we were going to do a little like poetry thing for that. So I would be for like elementary age kids, which would be really fun because they are among the most creative of us, bested only by the toddlers, maybe.
That is true.
But we'll see. We'll see. I hope so, is the short answer.
It's hard to get college kids to be like, to get them to open up, I feel like. I don't know. I'm not a college professor, but let's continue on. Anyone else have anything to say? Anyone in the audience? Alexandra, Danielle, or Aaron, or Amber, or no one? All right. I'll edit that part out. And we'll continue onward. Zuleyha Ozturk. She has an episode coming out with Lo-Fi Pod very soon. It's a very informational episode. You'll learn a lot of things about her and her poetry. She is a PhD first year at Tennessee. She got her MFA from the Florida State University. I got that right. I met her at AWP. There were a lot of people there. She's one of the only people that contacted me back. So there we go. That's why she's here. All right, you may begin.
Well, thank you. Yeah, me and Tyler met at AWP. I love a nice poetry community. I'll read a couple poems. Let me start my stopwatch so I don't get kicked out. This is called We Fuel Us Clairvoyant. We take off our headscarves, we shut blinds. We take wing after wing and boil us. We burn paper as fuel for the samovar. We no longer pray in mosques. We no longer sin. Instead, we king our sky as clairvoyant. Break our bones like reeds to sing until we return to Medusa's mausoleum. Our hands appear to take off our headscarves. We shut blinds. We take wing after wing, burn over sky, we snow us in. A mother sting in our womb, we bury Istanbul. We forget our wooden hair. No longer we pray, no longer we sin in mosques. Instead, we king our grandmother gutting peppers, we pocket knife, we shrink our sky as clairvoyant. We pluck our lives, we chore, we tear. We take off the blinds and shut our heads. Scarfed, we break wing after chicken wing. Cooked beside stuffed peppers, we bring us to clairvoyance. We burn joyous. We wear tight the fear of mosques. Prayers tell us to no longer sin. Instead, we king ourselves. We exist in every story censored, every surgical string to enclose us. We milk us sour and burn us as fuel for the samovar. We take off our headscarves. We shut their blinds. Take our wings off no mosque prayers. We sin longer. No longer do we king. This poem's called Some Days. Some days. There's a clay house strange in a desert, but no windows, no doors. People are gone, no sound except bullets cracking past my ear. And then I wake up. Did I wake up? Yes. I woke to a cockroach crawling on my face. It scuttled to make an escape. You took a shoe to smash it. And then what happens? And then it's just another Wednesday, and now you're soaked. I think, when was the last time I got soaked? What I remember instead is Baltimore. It poured. I tried to find a landlord, hatching a plan to tell my parents, but the plan turned sour, which meant Googling doctors who perform hymen surgery in Maryland and what to do if you told your Muslim parents everything. Everything meant everything. Vodka, cigarettes, shellfish, eye contact, handshakes, tank tops, vanilla extract, birth control, wet kisses, mini dresses, a boyfriend, a tattoo of the sun. I said sex. And my mother asked, "Kendine ne yaptın kızım?" What did I do? Made of acetylene, I pressed a clean breast of my kind of no sin. Prayers sure on my mother's lips, and my father with no bread knife between his teeth, no silent fist wagging the air turned out to accept me, I think. My parents bought us groceries last week. Since then, I've been a cloud of instant flashbacks reeled to that morning, 3 nights of no sleep, a quiet bag with important documents, 3 outfits, Stevens and other books, kissing my sisters goodbye on the cheek, a handwritten note, running to your car, threats, 6 months of silence. And then what happens? And then it's just another Wednesday, another cockroach drinking drool off my face, Palmetto and her Palmetto friends dropping from ceiling vents, a hypnic jerk. I'm awake again. Did I just wake? Is it just another? It's Wednesday again. Accidental Wednesday rain, which meant you watched me take a shower under southern rain, post-hurricane. Weight you watched wash off my shoulder blades. That weight washed off and clung to grass collars I stood over, barefoot. I bear hugged the sky. I guess the next poem I'll read is this is one of my prose poems, and Tyler told me to read my prose poems slower, so I'm gonna try to. Apparently, it's too much when I read it too fast. This is called El Jadida, Morocco. And my grandmother smelt the same after a decade, and I hugged her at the exit of the Casablanca airport, and I couldn't look at her straight in the face, and I held back tears as we walked back to the Dacia that Layla's mom drove, and you held my hand, and both my uncle and I wore a green shirt with blue jeans, and you took a picture. And my father and uncle fought over country and president, but they grew silent since we were in Morocco, and we couldn't have met in Soma, Turkey because of Erdogan's mass arrests. And who knew we'd be here if it wasn't for Layla and my uncle marrying her and their son cooing and crawling over the sparkling tiles and the portrait of men on horses I stared into before breakfast sang a song I couldn't decode. And it meant that there was always country and land and exile, and it mattered where we had breakfast. And it mattered that my mother rented a house big enough for all of us, and the pool where the sun broke into our skin, and the pool where my grandmother, my mother, my sisters, my husband, my cousin, my family all swam in. And we were individual leaves on the olive tree staring at us. And it was all of our hands dipping into the olive and lemon juices in the chicken tagine. And we walked around Jamal Fana during the hottest time of the day. And we met a man who sold us coffee beans, marinating in spices. And there were jars of roses, star anise, mint, cinnamon, and he made us tea on a single burner and melted eucalyptus in it. And the scent was winter and summer, and I didn't ask when I'd see all my family together again. And my grandmother's pulse in her hand as I put my cheek into her palm was enough to let me know that despite everything, we didn't disappear. And she told us to love each other, and morning wrapped around the wheels of our suitcase as we left. That's it, guys.
Thank you very much. Graham, what did you think of her poetry? First time hearing it.
I loved it. I'm really feel very grateful that I was asked to be on this reading and hear you read. No, I liked it a lot. I like the length of your poems and like how much rhythm is a part of like what you're doing, and just I feel like I like the amount of time that I am inside each poem, and then also I can imagine on the page there's a very nice like revelry of like turning the page, like moving through the poem in this kind of physical way that makes me want to continue hearing and reading your stuff. So thank you for sharing.
Katie, what did you think? Did you relate to any of the Maryland stuff? Because Katie and they're both from Maryland. You're muted, Katie.
Sorry, I said holler. I can't remember what the Maryland. I feel like something did catch me, but I already forgot it about the Maryland stuff. But I just love how like tactile and like vivid the images in your poems are. Like your cheek and your grandma's like feeling her pulse in her hand. I'm butchering it now, but I don't know. It just like those little moments are so beautiful, and like, yeah, it just felt really rich, and I love that.
Have you put out a chapbook?
It's so hard to unmute quickly because I'm not used to Google Meets. No.
Have you thought about it?
I'm submitting my full collection right now. It's
Okay.
out places. So see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jennifer, how'd you feel listening to her poetry?
Just like in awe, like kind of speechless. I feel like, yeah, I got the sense that like the poems come across as really carefully crafted, in the sense that I feel like there were a lot of really smart things happening with like the craft and the form, but like it wasn't getting in the way of the emotion. If anything, it was like driving the passion of each piece. Like in the first piece, there's the use of we, the we pronoun, and that repetition, we verb, like we plus verb. And that led to some really interesting like syntactical moments, like we king our sky is clairvoyant. Like I was literally just writing down lines because I was like, oh my God, we stow us in, we king ourselves. And then like the second poem uses like litany in a really interesting way as well. And so I just got the sense that like, as a poet, you have a very vast knowledge of form and craft that I'm like jealous of, low key. And you're utilizing it in such a beautiful way that, again, is just like kind of leading us into the like depth of emotion and these like histories that you're trying to communicate to us. It's really, yeah, firing on all cylinders. That's what I'd say.
Crow, what did you think? Thank you, Jennifer.
I latched on to the rhythm of it too. The repetition was really working for me. The like looping, cyclical, gradual degradation and disintegration and tangling of language was really cool.
Thank you, Crow.
Especially in that first one. That was kind of it cast a spell over me a little bit.
Nice. I like that interpretation. Tom, you're the last to go. Do you feel the pressure of being the last one?
No, all the pressure has left my body because I just got to hear that set, so I'm feeling great. But yeah, I just wanted to add, I agree with what everyone else has said, and I think it takes a real gift and a real sense of balance to like articulate big like forces and structures, but like to articulate them through really concrete objects and images and moments. And there are so many moments where something was standing in for like an entire experience of gender or of like so many other different things that could get these like abstract names that would give them no emotive, or like not the same emotive like character that the poems do. And especially I really resonated with what other folks were saying about like the space that you kind of could move your elbows around in and really sit in like a narrative, but also just like almost like a spatial sense, like you're sitting in some sort of like, you know, worship space. And that was really cool. Thank you. Really nice to know your poems.
I have a question for everyone. She said she was sending out her manuscript for those poems. How long have you guys waited, or after sending your manuscripts out? This goes to Graham or Jennifer or Tom or Crow or Katie. You don't want to say?
I feel like if you're in a PhD program now and you've got your MFA and stuff, like you might be submitting to. It depends on obviously where you're submitting it, but it sounds like you might be submitting to places that have like awards or contests or something like that. That's probably where you should be submitting, because you are very talented and that you deserve those kind of things. Those take a while, maybe, I don't know. So most of my stuff is being published by friends. So like, don't go that route, because you deserve, you know, the small amounts of money that they can give to poets. Please.
But Graham's work has been like a hit on the indie scene, so I don't think it really mattered where he sent his work to, because he's so excellent as a writer.
Yeah, Graham is a false blueprint.
He's like one of the icons in our community. We have like we uphold him on like pedestal, you know. Well, thank you, everybody. Crow, would you like to introduce Graham? And Graham's going to be reading prose. He's not reading poetry. He refuses.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that. Graham is one of my best friends. He's one of my favorite writers, and I mean that for real. No exaggeration, no qualifications, living or dead. He's kind of a voice in my head when I read something or when I write something. I think, how would Graham see this? How would he sort of skew this? I'm blown away by the way he gets feeling onto the page alongside humor. I had the great honor of interviewing Graham for Hobart, and we got into some of that. But yeah, I'm blown away by Graham. He's massively accomplished, even though he mostly publishes with friends. He deserves all the little money and big money, and I'm always excited to see what Graham writes next, and I'm excited he's sharing something new tonight.
Thank you, Crow.
That's really sweet. Thank you for saying that. I don't deserve any of your friendships, so I really appreciate you all. New and old friendships. I'll try to get through this quickly. During meditation, despite being far from any densely forested area, I let the image of woodland creatures come to me. A Kodak bear, a California condor, sockeye salmon spawning upstream. At one point, though my eyes were closed, the room was full of a benevolent Dungeness crab. Her claws reached across the other members. Before the chairperson's alarm rang and we started sharing, I was holding my unborn daughter. We were at the thrift store on my day off. She didn't need anything, but I thought, why not? Let's just go. Whatever she picked out, we'd be able to get no problem. To her, I said, why do you like that one, baby? About a jacket she grabbed. No judgment, grace and kindness to your agency. I'm just wondering. It's nice to know. It was why I was at the meeting in the first place. I'd been clean for almost of most things for 19 months, 583 days if I was counting, 12 months if I counted Super Bowl last year, and she, my daughter, would be born in about 2 weeks. There wasn't an exact urge to relapse, but I found myself pondering a perfect substance, a perfect habit, something to alter my thoughts, take away stress and anxiety. Of course, I didn't want these new substances and habits to be my old ones, the ones that had landed me in meetings in the first place. Ideally, my perfect thing would be something new, something I'd never heard of before, something none of my friends or family knew about either. And because it was new and unknown, I wouldn't have to explain my use of it. I wouldn't feel ashamed of basing my entire personality around it until eventually everything crashed in on me some months later. I wouldn't need to reveal anything at all because no one was aware of it. It would be basically, as in a dream sense, imaginary and therefore harmless. I wanted to get ahead of that urge. The meeting was fine. Meditation helped. I didn't share. I didn't want to start crying and scare everyone in the room. A lot of the pregnancy at that point was waiting. Wills were written, furniture built, socks and onesies and swaddles washed. When not at the office, my manager, Phil, was letting me work a couple days from home. I spent my free time tied to the phone watching short-form videos, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, nothing over 30 seconds, which meant I could watch a lot and at any time of the day. If I had an extra 15 minutes, that could be upwards of 50 videos, 50 miniature creative projects. It seemed to me curating was a creative act. I found this esoteric content. I was culling it for, I wouldn't say something. It could, at some point in the future, open up an avenue into an unknown world, clear up my anxieties, and embolden me to the terrors of change. A martial arts studio in Colorado specialized in suit-based jujitsu. Members of an elite club wore jackets and trousers, ties and Oxford shirts. Barefoot, they grappled in a padded cage until a bell rang. Then a referee would throw into the cage a prop gun. At that point, the men could use the gun to beat their opponent, to hold them hostage, or shoot them to death, winning the fight. They could also continue to grapple, and if enough time passed, more guns were thrown into the cage. Eventually, according to a compilation of videos I watched, someone would be defeated with brute strength or prop gun, whereupon an audience of shirtless men in baggy shorts and threatening hieroglyphic tattoos would rush into the cage and carry away the victor. These men wore beards, had pear-shaped bodies, were in various states of balding. The owner of the studio had a side project where he taught members of his community, somewhere outside Boulder, how to build 4x4 crosses for an event he called the Cross Carry Challenge. With lumber from a nearby hardware store, after a small donation of $50 to $75, Christians could relive the last hours of their Savior. These videos featured gentler editing techniques, no explosive cuts, barely any guitar riffs, and ended with a prayer for soldiers and children and various persecuted others. The fetish content, vaguely safe for work stuff, bothered me less. I understood the goal, was more empathetic to the humans involved in the content itself or creators of, because while it didn't share the specific interests, I knew what it was like to have an all-encompassing hedonism take over my life. Young men in jeans during rainstorms generated by AI, scenes of a young man walking through a mall toward a wet jeans store because he was invited to a wet jeans pool party by a club at a school called the Wet Jeans Club. The young man in this video had jeans. He told his girlfriend, "I've just never gotten them wet." He laughed tightly. like that at least. The AI-generated wet jeans content was replaced by AI-generated green gelatin content. Men and women in kitchens, usually with normal human heads and green gelatin bodies, expelling objects, a football, a violin, a charcuterie board with great force from the green gelatin area of their green gelatin body that would be, were it human, an ass, the asshole. These videos often ended in forearm deep digging, the same handsome younger man in an apron to retrieve the lodged object, and resulted in semi-solid green muscled orifices oozing a slime-like liquid filling the room. Maybe, I thought, these images, the programs that created them, the human sources behind the prompts, were a type of nocturnal theater of symbols. The algorithm was libidinal economy in real time. The characters in these scenes, the safe, free from real world generated scenes, were simulacra of ideal erotic impulse. They didn't exist outside of their 30-second film clips. They didn't have homes or families or jobs or childhoods. They were never born. I stopped thinking about it. In the kitchen at work, I waited for more coffee to brew. The office was quiet, mostly empty. Phil was down the hall, but I hadn't talked to him all day. Some new page came up on Instagram, not AI stuff this time, but real people. In inflatable plastic suits like beach ball material shaped like dogs, and those dogs were wearing police uniforms also made from beach ball material. The people in the plastic suits walked stiffly through an art gallery type space. Empty white rooms with high bright lights. They folded their arms up and down at the elbow in a type of mascot wave. On the page, I scrolled to older videos, earlier content by the creator. I wanted to see the evolution of this work, to see where it started. I wanted to see more simple versions of this elaborate game being shared. I rolled my thumb onto the most repellent, visceral, appalling footage so far. A man wearing inflatable cow legs, large pink udders on his lower abdomen, rode an inflatable saddle. It was then Zahir, the building's custodian, came into the kitchen just in time to see milk or a milk-like substance pour from the udders and slide along the brown saddle, sticking in long strings to the man's bare torso and exposed nipples. I put my phone away and made eye contact with Zahir. I laughed loudly, told him, "It's funny, huh? It's funny." He said, "Dude," and something else I didn't understand. He kind of waved and stepped backward away from me. "Dude," he said again. He smiled, but his eyes looked unsure. I left to clear my head. Fuck Zahir. Now I have to act weird around him forever, on top of everything else. I just think the videos are funny, that's all. It's not a big deal. I found my way to a nearby church basement at the start of another meeting. In a natural way, I told myself to clear my head. I told myself, let the tides of the universe push me towards some kind of shore. During meditation, once again, I let a being of pure light appear in my arms. The being had no recognizable human shape. Just a bright centered mass as large as my chest. I told the group when it was time to share, like I put my arms out in front of me about 18 inches, this big, fingers slightly apart, and the being of pure light I shared with the group had a soothing warmth. It had no recognizable human shape, but it had limits and I could cradle it, and I tried to guess. I think the light was my unborn daughter, probably. She felt soothing and warm, like a small hand firmly wrapped around my thumb, and she wasn't dense, but not weightless either. To hold her was morally invigorating, like going for a run or doing 25 push-ups. And her eyes were the best part. The eyes were like a more dim light, like a seafoam gray within a fluorescent eggshell. And when I looked into the seafoam gray eyes, it was as if I had my face pressed against mirrored glass. I could see a room inside, peaceful and quiet, waking up on a weekend morning. I wiped my tears away and apologized. I thanked the room for letting me share. There was a lot going on lately, and it was good to be around people who didn't judge, who understood where I was coming from. I was proud of myself for showing up, for being present. Walking out of the meeting, I looked at my phone. A text message from Phil about an hour ago. I opened my email. Another message from Phil with HR attached. Come by and talk whenever you get a chance, it said. No rush. So I walked home. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Crow, what'd you think of his piece?
I thought it was a lot of fun. It's the other thing I really appreciate about Graham is that he surprises me every time, which is hard to do for somebody you know so well. I mean, I don't know Graham that well, but like, I feel like I know enough to be able to expect what he might do creatively, and that's always subverted. Yeah, there's something so cool about the combined humor and vulnerability There's something really raw there, but unafraid too. There's no caution in it. Yeah. It felt ambitious to me, right? I think one thing that piece did is it's sort of self-indulgent in a way, right? It's like, there's that stereotype about dreams that it's really boring to hear people talk about their dreams, but some people they're really great at doing that. They can relay them, and you are invested. And so I feel like talking about AI generated slop is something Graham can pull off, right? Like I will watch that through his lens. Yeah.
Katie, what was your opinion on Graham's piece, if you have one? Thank you, Crow. You're muted again.
I'm really bad at this. I loved it. I'm really learning a lot about. I feel like I'm bad at listening in real life readings, but for some reason I'm even worse at Zoom readings, even though I'm trying really hard. But I feel like you do this thing with your writing where it's like you make these connections, but you make them so like you never have to point it out exactly. It like just comes through very clearly and poetically. Like it's deceptively straightforward, but there's like these layers underneath it and connections that you can find. Yeah, so I love that and the humor.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
Tom, would you like to say anything?
I would. I am a huge fan of Graham, and especially I think like Graham is one of our great practitioners of the book. Like Graham's books that have a kind of object at the heart of them, but like the objects in the gelatin, it's like kind of messy to get there. And like I like when I think of like the way Graham you handle your subject matter, it feels to me like a kind of like single ply spirituality, of like the shit's gonna get through a little bit, but you gotta do what you gotta do with it. And I just I love the way this piece was floating around so many different, like it was in a church basement, it was in like these like martial arts that are sometimes substitutes for, I don't know, ritual or something. Like it just lived in this very like ritualistic space informed by like the very real reality of addiction and other stuff that makes American life really, really hard and shitty sometimes. But yeah, you're a master of that, and it's really cool to hear it live.
Graham, thank you, Tom. Graham, I have a question. Why the move from prose from poetry? Do you feel like you've written everything you wanted to communicate through poetry, or is it just like not really like a premeditated thought? You just like were writing that way?
I don't know. I think it would be nice to write something in prose form. I don't know. It's a challenge because I just as a challenge. I don't also. Maybe I don't know if I'm that like the poems that I write are necessarily like best for. I don't know. So it feels better, to try something new rather than like write another poem or write another thing that feels kind of like I don't know. Yeah, does that make sense? I don't know if that's
you've mastered poetry, so now you want a new challenge.
No, I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm not really I don't really write poems. I feel like they're not poems that I would be. It's rude to make someone think they are, I guess. So it feels like I'll do something else. And if prose can be it's just a shape, then that's easier. Like poetry, I think, is not a shape. It's a different thing. And I maybe haven't been true to it, maybe.
Okay. Jennifer, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. The phrase I kept thinking throughout that reading was like grounded absurdity. Like it was so real and felt so like naturalistic, but so like strange at the same time, in the same way that like contemporary life is. It reminded me of like, and I hope you take this as a compliment, but like a contemporary like Kurt Vonnegut kind of style of fiction. Again, just like, yeah, that grounded sense of absurdity. The wet jeans pool party was so funny. And just like the way you wrote about AI in general. But at the same time, like the humor, I feel like led us to these really powerful moments of beauty. Like there was this line you had, the light was my unborn daughter. And I was like, oh my God, like my heart just stopped at that moment. And it was like, yeah, all of the absurdity leading up to that, that line wouldn't have hit the same way without everything that you built towards. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And you should definitely keep writing fiction.
Zuleyha, do you have anything you'd like to add? Thank you, Jennifer.
I mean, I agree with everyone that's spoken, but thank you, Graham, for sharing your prose. You should still write poetry. My favorite moment in that story was fuck the hair. I can't, like, now I have to act weird around him all the time. Paraphrasing. But I just relate to that's such a good feeling. I don't even know what that feeling is, but I like that you capture that amongst the textures of like the absurdity. There's also very like the feelings of it. I feel are tied to a very real source. So that was very cool.
Thank you. Tom, would you like to introduce Jennifer?
I would be absolutely honored to do that. And like Jennifer, I did not come prepared to do this, and I will probably not do as beautiful a job as Jennifer did earlier in the same position. But I will just say, I have been, and I'm sure there are other people in this call who are in the same boat, I've been reading Jennifer's poetry for a decade plus, and there's something really incredible to think of. Like, you know, if you were in Poetrylandia in like that section of the 2010s, there's a lot of stuff that was going on there that you're like, I don't know what we were up to. But then there was a lot of stuff that just was immediately gripping and immediately had this like a way of attaching itself to like the moment, but also to you personally. Like, so if, you know, many of us probably were walking around with the Civil Coping Mechanisms, There Should Be Flowers book, which is this like gorgeous book that, yeah, like Graham's nodding, thank you, because I think a lot of us just got grabbed by the whatever in that moment. And Jennifer, the way that you've since then both continued to write this kind of work that is incredibly direct and like does not pull any punches and looks directly in the face of both like the world and the way that the world has caught increasingly horrible fire in different ways, but also takes really seriously the role of the self in it, the like crippling anxiety of just being a person at all, needing to act in the world in any way to change it or to just exist in it. And the way that like we were talking at the very beginning of this call when I hopped on about like Ariana Ryans, who's somebody else who like I've like gotten to read for a long time and felt like the way a voice can become simultaneously less and more sure of itself in enacting these kinds of like poetic gestures, and also can like get tired of itself and reinvent itself because it does that. Like I like what Crow you said about Graham and surprise, and I think Jennifer, your work has been a real joy of constant renewal and constant reinvention, and it's just been a real privilege to be in this neck of the woods of poetry and to have gotten to hear your poems for as long as they've been happening and to know that they're continuing to happen. Yeah, I think you're amazing, and I'm so glad to be here with you tonight, and I cannot wait to hear what you're going to read.
Well, thank you for almost making me cry before my reading, Tom. That is so nice. I feel the exact same way about you. Like the fanship is mutual. Wow, thank you. Okay, so yeah, I love what you said about like self-reinvention, because that's such a vulnerable thing, right? Like you get used to writing a certain way and then you get bored of it and then you want to change it, but then there's that fear of like, well, what if it's not the same? What if it doesn't hit the same way? So I'm going to be reading a bunch of poems that I've written in the last few months. These are mostly new. Some of them are actually published on the Lo-Fi website. Thank you so much, Tyler. So essentially the context of these poems is that towards the end of December of last year, I got a divorce, left my job, blew up my entire life, moved to LA to start over again. And it's so fucking scary and so insane, but we're making it work. It's happening. And my poetry tends to like reflect my environment. And I've been really like curious to witness how like, yeah, my poems have changed since moving to LA. So these are my LA poems essentially. So yeah, I'm gonna set a timer for myself so that I don't be rude. Okay. And then yeah, these are the poems. The first poem is called Form. I don't need a job. I need money. Nobody understands the difference anymore. I went hungry as a child, my shoes worn down to holes through which the earth became my mother. I don't need a partner. I need love. I don't need freedom. I need room. A room. A small room with walls to beat and beat and beat and beat against my working body until I am free. Okay. The next poem is called Vibing. It's January 2nd. It's raining in LA. I drive around listening to radio jazz, watch people run through street water. I wave a man through a crosswalk on his tiny little bike, and I head back to my new home, my brand new life. I play a YouTube video of a Reiki healer to cleanse past lovers away, scald my body in a bath with the fire of years. This is a different time. I am being poured into violently. My heart is bleeding purple light. I am forgetting every gray, every old color. I used to fall asleep thinking, this is it, all there is. Always a loud crash below, always crashing. Gone loose, I have. This is life, and it is falling on me hard. Okay, and the next poem is called Voice. I didn't have a voice. I forgot how to say the name of the wind that carried me from end to beginning with teeth like a kite. You sang to me. The vivid images were dyed gray with the juices of plants we brought back from dreams. I see the same places every night, a forest, a city, a desert, all ruined, in ruins, in process of ruining. To speak is just a virtue signal for rebuilding. It never actually does a thing. Rip it down from the top of my dress. Fall on my face when I try to say jagged edges of myself through soft surface skin. I am a breathing mountain. I am an elephant made of gold. I am the air hiss from a mattress leaking out in the corner of my new room where I've gone to find my voice. I fled from voicelessness, leaving a trail of blood with every bitter cough. I flee every step, every word. I flee into the night. I flee until it's just a sound, a song, a silent star in a silent orchestral constellation. I take in the way I can. Take up space in the corner of the universe. I want to offend. I'm tired of it all. You took my voice, world, and all I ever wanted was to love you and be a part of it all. No, it's not your fault. I'm writing this poem in blood because I've always been insane. I wanted to be a front lawn and a house dream and walls that give way when you yell. I opened my mouth to the world. I open mouth kissed the world. I was a slut for the world, a silent pleading thing begging for the same scraps you bemoaned ever receiving. I would give what's left of what the folds of my spirit throat can vibrate into you. I would do anything to be free. I am writing this poem in invisible ink, which is what my blood is made of. I will silence and encode the days of broken walls and fears of contradicting you. I will be so silent and so loud, my voice will become a separate entity. I will never have to say what you did to me. Okay, this next poem is called, this is a shorter one, It's called Hysterical. Sigfluencing your way through the city, fun employed and dripping in fast fashion realness, you are destined to burn away and become one or more, maybe a dozen crows lingering over the intersection who every 5 minutes erupt into chaos, then murmurate geometrically into hysterical order without a second thought. The next poem is called January. What's in my bag? I'm alone with you, smooth and felt. We're manifesting toxic intimacy. Sky of pearl, perverse tree line. Babe, you've barely touched your wild dreams. I have a theory. In this essay, I will embroider a palette. Your country's caffeine-free moss. Timeless shitposting, fascism update, sea nested inside morning routine. Alas, powerlessness. Okay, and the last poem I'm going to read is simply titled Poem. You're not allowed to know anything anymore. Reality is now entirely based in heuristics. Everyone is more confident in their truth than ever, and no one has ever been further from the actual thing. The only knowledge left is faith. We're told we're supposed to know certain things because there is no cause for why you act this way. There is no cause for this world the way it is. True knowledge is the sky without words for color, without words for swim or climb or flow. You need to forget more and more until you feel the pulse, how we used to touch it in dreams, in songs, in poems, in the car with the window down and sunlight. Knowing is simple. It is the opposite of tradition. It destroys everything behind it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome. Zuleyha, I saw you guys reacting over there. What did you think of Jennifer's poetry?
Wait, what did you say?
I saw you guys reacting after she would like finish her poems.
I mean, badass. No, but seriously, I think what I was thinking about is how you can balance anger and tenderness in your poems, which is so difficult to do. I feel like June Jordan does it. She's the master of it, and that's what you reminded me of. So, do you guys have anything to say?
Yeah, loved it. I mean, you saw our like little hand movements at the end. We all kind of like at the end of each poem, we all kind of looked at each other and were like, yeah.
Wait,
It was felt.
I love the sense of place because you were talking about how you blew up your life and then you moved to LA, and I feel like that rings so true as the backdrop of all of the poems, even though it wasn't the forefront. And I really like that.
Absolutely. You have something to say, Veronica?
I second those thoughts of place, and also the way you're able to like start a poem with such like stark humor and then end in a way that has all of us like looking at each other like I need to catch my breath it's amazing.
Badass.
Thank you for those thoughts. Katie, would you like to say anything about Jennifer's work?
Yeah, I just find the way you express like emotional or your emotional world so relatable. Oh man, I feel like I'm clamming up responding to everyone because I'm such a big fan of all of you. Zuleyha was my first time hearing you, but I'm a fan now. But like I had something to say, but yeah, I find it so relatable. And I was gonna also say that the way you read your poetry is so like just alluring. I don't know how to, like you just read it so well. And yeah, I'm a big fan.
Graham, do you have anything you would like to add in addition? Looks like there's some commotion over there.
Sorry, I'm playing catch with my cat.
Okay.
But no, I really like a line that you read, and I think the second poem was I am a golden elephant, and like the way that I like the way that you got to that moment, just like where you can go from maybe that feels like a declarative kind of like forceful statement. It is like showing like an object, but both the golden elephant, but also just like the way the statement works is like my hands aren't in the thing, but it's like you're presenting something to the page, and then the other parts, but that comes after these interior moments where you're talking about emotions and obviously, but just that the speaker is like pulling inward and then presenting and then pulling inward and then presenting, and I really like that movement in all of your work, and now I really appreciate you hearing it.
Thank you, Graham. Crow, do you have anything you would like to say about Jennifer's poetry?
Yeah, I liked how deceptively plain spoken and simple and direct things were most of the time. Kind of, yeah, deceptive, I think, is what I'm going for there. But then it sort of gave way to like real forceful, persuasive, righteous, like it had authority. I was convinced. Not that I was sort of being convinced, but I was. That's just the way I felt. And then, also there are like little moments of strange, like bringing things back from dreams. Like I was sort of not hung up. I was into this idea of permeated boundaries that I feel like pervaded some of those poems. So good stuff.
Thank you, Crow. Tom, would you like to end it off with your own thoughts?
Sure. I would like to say that was everything I hoped it would be and more. And also I've spent so much time with some of your earlier poems, Jennifer, and I feel like one of the things that I would always think of when I was reading some of your earlier books was like the whole idea that like if the world is really fucked up, then if you respond like by engaging with it the way that you quote unquote should, or like normatively or whatever, that's a fucked upness that you just carried with it. And I feel like in some of your earlier poems, the response was this like pause moment or this panic moment or this like catatonic moment of like, oh my God, what's going on? And I love that they're in the more recent poems and like your new poems, there's these images of like, I'm going to blow up into a murder of crows and just blow up this fucking place. And just, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to bring the, like, it's just like an extremely active and an extremely like, I've seen that previous stage and I want to move past it in this interesting and generative and new and dynamic way. So yeah, it's really, really cool to hear you read as always.
Well, thank you, everyone. This has been an excellent reading. I was wondering, do any of you have any questions for each other, or you want to say anything that we did not get to? Or anyone in the audience, if you have any questions for our readers. Anyone in the
So
chat?
amazing. That's all I have to say. Everyone's so amazing. I'm glad that I got the chance to read amongst you guys, and I'll be following. I'll be watching out for your works.
Thank you for coming. This has been great. I'm going to stop the recording here.